It's 10 in the morning and I've got on a lace lingerie inspired bodysuit, but I am here for you guys. Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. In case you couldn't tell, it's going to be around doing sexy in the right way because I know we're heading into the holidays. A lot of us have more social events, evening types of things, parties, whatever you want to call it, perhaps even a date night out with your special significant other, and you want to get dressed and wear something that feels a little bit more sexy and evening appropriate. But there comes a point in most women's lives where you are faced with the Miami nightclub dress, which is one of your choices, not really the story I'm trying to tell about myself anymore, or something that I think airs a little bit too subdued and maybe even on the frumpy side. So in today's video, I wanted to give you guys a baseline or the architecture for structuring sexier evening outfits without them going into a territory that you may not be comfortable with. If you are new here, I'm Tasha Julie and I'm an LA-based fashion stylist with an emphasis around helping both my personal styling clients and my YouTube viewers get dressed more easily, look great while doing it, all while being mindful of overconsumption and stepping out of that endless hamster wheel of feeling like you always have to buy new stuff. So speaking of that, before we get into the video, I have linked a free before you buy it checklist in the description box, along with all of the pieces that I am wearing in the video. That way you can do a quick rundown before utilizing any of the links to purchase something new, and make sure that you're checking in with yourself and you're getting something new for the right reasons, not just something that you're going to wear once and then cast aside. And one more point I want to make before we get into these looks, because everybody seems to be offended by everything these days. I just want to say that my calling these looks sexy but a little more subdued, or parts of it are covered, I am not here to tell women to cover their bodies. That is not the point of this video. We have been being told that for, I guess, since the dawn of time. I'm not coming from a place of telling anyone to cover their body. So I just want to get that out of the way. So let's get into these looks. Starting with this first one, which is a little something that I like to refer to as lingerie dressing, and also does carry points from what I just mentioned in the intro. It is sexy, but also a little bit reined in. There are some more subdued elements and there are some more sexy elements. As certain things start trending, I of course start getting more and more requests from my personal styling clients for things that look like these trending items. So one of the first ones being this overall like lace sheer idea, which I think is really pretty, but also tends to be flirting into the danger zone of appropriateness, especially depending on where you're going. So if you're really into this sort of sheer, playing around with lace, lingerie inspired looks, I think this is an easier way to do something that could flirt into like danger zone, too sheer, too much going on, showing all of the things, like some of these completely sheer lace dresses or catsuits. I think this is an easier way that's going to have you probably feeling both physically and mentally a little bit more comfortable. One of the ways I like to experiment with my own personal style and put together something that is unique and really feels like me, but is also fun and a little bit sexy, is to wear a piece that's a little less expected for the given occasion. So I think for nighttime, we would expect dresses, skirts, those types of things. But I like to mix it up by throwing in something like a pair of shorts. Also true to what I like to talk about here on my channel, these shorts were a true shop your closet moment. I've had them for a while, so I will try to link something similar if I can find a pair. These shorts have come in so handy for me. I have brought them on trips. I wore them to, I think it was an Art Basel event when I was in Miami, because I did want to wear something kind of true to what we're talking about on this video. I wanted to be a little bit more sexy or evening appropriate, but I didn't want to wear the traditional like nightclub cutout, short, tight, just showing all of the things. That's not really the way that I like to carry myself these days. So I opted for these and I brought them with me on the trip, and I wasn't really sure that I was going to wear them, but I ended up being really glad that I brought them with me. And then paired with tights, that adds a little bit more coverage. I don't think it's like super risque to show your legs or anything, but I think they add a nice kind of contrast in a shorter pair of shorts look, and they also add some functionality if it happens to be cold outside. The one thing you want to be careful of is the, what do they call that? Oh, the control top. You want to be careful when you're shopping, especially if you're shopping online for a pair. Look at where that kind of underwear looking thing goes, and if it's not going to work with the length of your garment, then maybe opt for a pair without. I typically like to do that on the little filter radio button, because I do find that control top style stuff like shapewear, it's very, very uncomfortable. So depending on the occasion, or if there's going to be flash photography, sometimes I'll suck it up. But generally speaking, I don't love a shapewear control top thing if it's not a special occasion. This next look has me feeling a little bit chilly, so if I have goosebumps or if my skin looks blue, please ignore that. I think that when a lot of us think of sexy outfits, we tend to think of the obvious, so cleavage, short skirts, things that are super duper tight and just super sexy. And one of the ways that I like to sort of get around the obvious and do something that's a little less expected is a halter top. So I think that showing your back is a really nice, more elegant, slightly more ladylike way to dress up in a sexier or evening appropriate festive party wear. It's a little bit more fun, but it's not like super naked where you're like, hey, I'm here for the party, everybody. And the other fun thing about a halter top specifically is that you can pair it with anything that you want. You've got a little bit more versatility than you would with just a halter dress. So if you wanted to go trousers, I think you could also do a skirt depending on the weather, or even a midi or maxi skirt I think would be really pretty with a halter top. But altogether, kind of a fun way. It's slightly the road less traveled when it comes to sexier dressing, but I think it's something that works really well because the element of slightly subdued, slightly sexy in a less obvious or like in your face kind of a way. One of my favorite ways to be a little bit more subtly sexy is an off-shoulder top. I think it's also a little bit less expected, but it's still fun, it's still fresh, it still amps up a look a little bit more for something that, again, is a little bit more sexy. One of the other things I really love to do when I have a bare neckline or even bare shoulders is to dot on a little bit of highlighter. This one is the Westman Atelier. I'll link it over here. It looks like this. You guys have probably seen it. So back to this look, a couple of fun elements going on here. We've got a couple of plays on texture. So this top is a little bit of a waffle knit. I don't know if you can tell on camera. And then the skirt is a satiny kind of shiny-ish fabric that I paired with a pair of silver heels. I think this would be a really nice evening look. Again, tasteful, a little bit sexy, kind of fun. And I think that the white is really gonna be on trend this kind of winter party season. Especially for New Year's, I love the idea of a winter white and silver look, but altogether, I think this is again a fun, slightly more subtle, appropriate way to wear a sexier outfit. So if you are thinking in terms of wanting to wear something that may be slightly off the beaten path, not too in your face sexy, I think that off the shoulder is another really great way to go. Do you guys happen to remember a few years back when Mugler came out with the bodysuit, catsuit, whatever you want to call it? I personally blame that on the resurgence of the jumpsuit, catsuit. I'm going to say catsuit because it's the more form-fitted type of a jumpsuit. So when that Mugler design popped up, I had a ton of clients asking me about this look. A lot of them were saying it was something they wanted to incorporate into their holiday lookbook. And unfortunately, it's going to be something that's difficult to wear because there's a lot going on with this look. And then the following year, it was this sort of lace body sock looking catsuit. But the point that I'm trying to make is if you do like the fitted one-piece jumpsuit, catsuit, there are ways that you can make it work for you. It's going to be one of the harder pieces out of this video to style, depending on your torso type. I have a very long torso, so anything that is one piece tends to kind of pull in the crotch area and be very unflattering. So if you are considering a catsuit or a tight fitted one piece, before I keep rambling, I should mention that the sexy piece of this outfit is the form-fitted all one piece. So if you like the look of these types of Mugler and then the lace catsuit type of thing, but you're not really sure how to make it work for you, one of the first things that you're going to want to do is check the crotch region. I know that makes me sound like a pervert, but I'm a stylist. So if it's pulling or awkwardly like doing any sort of calling attention to that region that you may not want, which happens to me a lot. I have a very long torso. I am not the world's tallest human, but my torso is unusually long for my body type. So anything that is one piece does tend to kind of do something weird in that region. So when this came across my desk, I was like, I don't know if it's gonna work, but I tried it on and it actually does work for once. So there are very few all one piece looks that work on a long torso. So if you are considering the overall like one piece catsuit, a couple of ways to keep it from going into a place that is too sexy is to, of course, pair it with some sort of layer, cardigan, blazer, jacket, whatever you want to do. And then as far as the shoes go, I wanted to keep it a little more subdued, so I chose a pair of boots rather than some va 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 boom over the top heel. So those are other ways that I think keep this look from being too sexy, but overall the one-piece catsuit, leotard, whatever you want to call it, is definitely still trending, but I think there are ways to sort of dip your toe in the water without going all out like in your face catsuit. So some food for thought when it comes to the one-piece look, and if that's not really your preference, like it's just too tight, I think that the regular jumpsuit is also just a really nice one and done kind of holiday piece that takes the place of a dress. So if the tight version is not your jam, you can check that out instead. I'm almost too tall in these boots to fit into the camera frame, but anyways, this next look brings me to one of my favorite points when it comes to sexier dressing. So if we're talking about evening dresses, a lot of times they are tight, they are short, they are in bright colors, and they are low cut, and they just have all of the things going on. When it comes to sexier dressing, I think that sometimes less really is more, leaving a little bit to the imagination. Things that are a little bit more subtle sometimes come across as even sexier. So case in point with this dress, I love the idea of this because it is several of the things that I want when I'm getting dressed up. So it's a little bit form-fitted, but it's not so tight that I'm physically and also in my mind uncomfortable with what is going on out here. So it's form-fitted, but it's long sleeve. It's got a higher neckline, but we are showing some leg, but not too much because we've got on some tall boots that also are a little bit sexy, but have a slight air of mystery because it's not just completely bare leg or skin tight dress. So this is another favorite way of mine to do a sexier evening look because again, it's not over the top, it's not in your face, and it's not going to have you showing all of the things. So if that's a look that you're going for and you've intentionally pulled out this skin tight metallic pink dress with all of the cutouts and the cleavage and it's short, if that is your journey and that is the fully intentional look that you are going for, do you rock on with that? But if it isn't, which I think is sometimes the trap that we can fall into with women's clothing, we are marketed these types of things that are supposed to be sexier, and then we put them on and we may not feel like it's us or the story that we're trying to tell the world about ourselves. So there is a way to incorporate sexier elements, but oftentimes it isn't marketed to you in a really obvious way. The things that are marketed to you are the ones that are more obviously sexy, that again, may have a time and place, but I think are things that a lot of us are not gravitating toward. Now you may not need this exact dress, but having something like this in your closet that incorporates similar elements, I think will take you really far and give you that sort of nice base or capsule wardrobe element to work with. That way you can kind of spice it up with accessories, a bag, shoes, do different things with it, but you've got a really excellent base piece that you can kind of run into your closet and get when perhaps a last minute or unexpected invitation comes your way and you're thinking, oh gosh, I have nothing to wear. And you don't want to go out and panic shop because that usually doesn't work for you. So having these pieces in your closet that you can reach for time after time will really take you far in minimizing stress for getting ready for events. And also it's going to minimize overconsumption and having to shop, the things that you buy and wear once. So yeah, great pieces that are going to be kind of a pillar or piece of your capsule wardrobe really is the way to go, especially around the holiday season. I think that the takeaway from this video is kind of selecting the piece that you want to showcase or the body part. Case in point for this dress, it's got a higher slit, so I would be showing more leg. And whenever I am showing a specific body part, that's gonna sound really weird. YouTube's probably gonna yank this video, but whenever I choose to show something, whether it's bare back, a shorter skirt, I wanna show some cleavage, whatever it is, I try to make sure the other elements are a little more subdued. I hope you guys found some of these tips for dressing sexier for evening helpful. I hope you can incorporate them into some of your holiday looks. And speaking of which, if you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to do that before you go because I think next week's going to be the holiday lookbook. So I hope to see you guys, and until then, be well. Thanks for watching.